Today in our cooking segment, we're going to go over how to make a no-knead bread recipe. It's simple, easy, and inexpensive. The one thing that you need is time, and right now in these days we have lots of time. So the first thing we need is a metal bowl. I have here 3 cups of all-purpose flour that I'm going to put into the metal bowl. We're going to put in, the recipe calls for a teaspoon and a half, but I'm actually putting in 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt because I'm actually going to use some cured meat, some prosciutto. We're also going to put in, the recipe calls for a half a teaspoon, but I like to put in a full teaspoon of yeast. That enables it to get extra fluffy. And here's where I kind of switch gears a little bit. I like to make it my own. I put in a teaspoon of dried oregano. This is actually from our garden in the back. And the other thing I do is I put in black pepper. And I put in about a teaspoon of that also. I know baking's about constant measurements and being exact. The nice thing about this bread recipe is you don't have to be exact. So those are the dry ingredients. I'm just going to mix them around really quick with a fork. And I'll show you a close-up of that in a second. We're a one-camera shop here. The other thing I'm going to add is this is diced prosciutto. It's actually a cured ham that I get from Tennessee. If you're going to put any cured meat in there that's going to go 18 hours, it's got to be a good dried cured meat. So those are my dried ingredients now. And now last, I put in a squirt of olive oil. Now the wet ingredients, a squirt of olive oil, maybe a teaspoon, tablespoon. And this is a cup and 5/8, not a cup and a half, a cup and 5/8. Now I'm putting this in slowly and I'm mixing as I go along with a fork. Unlike regular bread recipes where you would use your mixer to get a lot of gluten, this is going to work over time. So I'm going to stop for a second and scrape the sides. Put the rest in. And what we're going to do is, when this is done mixing, I'm going to cover this with plastic and we're going to let it sit for 12 to 18 hours. So tomorrow morning we'll film again and we'll edit it together and we'll show what it looks like. So if I walk around and you look at the camera, you'll see it looks very loose and very soft, almost like a clumpy glue. Tomorrow you'll see I'm probably about 1/3 of the cup, excuse me, 1/3 of the container. You'll see that this is going to be a good 3/4 full with yeast. So next time you see this video, which will be in 2 seconds, for us it'll be 12 to 18 hours. You'll see how it rises, and then we'll talk about the next phase. Again, a lot of time, but not a lot of work. All right, we were about 12 to 13 hours later. The dough has risen and proofed. We have preheated the oven for 450 degrees. In the oven, we have put a vessel with a container on it, a Dutch oven, so to speak. So now, the dough has been sitting here. I folded it over a few times, as you saw with the flour. It was a little wet than I wanted it to be, so I wanted to get it a little bit firmer. I let that sit for another half hour as the oven preheated and the vessel inside has warmed up. So this is what the dough looks like, very loose, very soft. We're going to open up the oven, take the cover off, and now I have to scoop this dough. It's going to be messy, it's going to be sloppy, and that's okay. It heals itself. So I'm going to scoop it, put it on the towel that I have. See how it is? And I'm just going to drop it in. GT, come over here and show that it's dropped in. Okay? Now, I'm putting this cover back on. Shake it a little bit, put it in there, and it's going to sit for 30 minutes covered. 30 minutes later, I'm going to uncover it and let it go for another 20 to 25 minutes. Alright, so the bread is out of the oven. I've let it cooled. And here's what the final product looks like. Let's see if we hear a nice sound to it. It looks nice. I'm going to cut it down the middle and see what it looks like. Oh, you hear that crunch? And here's what our bread looks like. So stay tuned next time and we'll have another cooking episode in the near future. Thank you. Have a great day.